Snorkl is a platform that allows students to practice speaking, writing, and annotating to fully answer a question provided by a teacher and then receive AI-generated feedback. In this video, we'll walk through how to create a question and then assign it to students in Snorkl. To start, navigate to snorkl.app. You'll log into the site using your Google account. To create an activity, click the Create an Activity button at the top of the page. Give the activity a name and choose how you want students to be able to respond. The default is whiteboard recording. This will allow students to speak, type, and draw on the screen to answer the question. The next step is to create the question. Click the Add Question link to open the editor. In the editor, the teacher can add images, annotate, and add text, including equations. In this case, I'm going to add a question from the middle school science curriculum that I want students to answer. I'm going to copy and paste the question from the image. Snorkl works best when you're asking a single question. Instead of trying to have students answer 5 problems, try to choose just one that will let you tell whether or not they understand the concept that you're teaching. When I'm finished editing the question, I'll click Done Editing to return to the Edit Activity screen. We'll add the text from the question in the instruction box to ensure that the question is accessible. If you used the text tool in the previous step, you aren't required to add instructions. Next, we'll set up the information for how we want the AI feedback to be generated. This step is very important. Snorkl offers to automatically generate the feedback settings. You may want to start here, particularly if the question uses a diagram. It's important to provide a description of any images or diagrams so that the AI can use it as context when providing the feedback. However, for the answer and criteria, you'll want to edit this to match the type of feedback and criteria you would use if you were evaluating the student's answer by hand. In this case, I'll click Edit to customize the feedback. Because I got this example from the textbook, I'll use the sample answer here as well as the scoring rubric from the question. Snorkl won't necessarily score the question, but it will use the rubric to tailor the feedback that it gives to students. If I want to ensure, for example, that students are using certain vocabulary terms, I could also include that in the scoring criteria. When I'm happy with the feedback settings, I'll click Confirm to save them. Now that I've set up my question, I can click Try as a student to test it out. You should always test a question before presenting it to students to ensure that the feedback that's being provided matches the type of feedback you would provide. If I don't like the feedback being provided, I can leave student mode and enter the feedback settings to be more specific. When you're ready to assign the activity, click the Assign button in the top right. You can either create a new class or assign the activity to a previously created class. The free version of Snorkl allows you to assign 20 activities across all of your classes. However, you can always delete a class to free up the number of activities. To access the activity from the Classes page, click on the class where you've assigned the activity, then click the Share link next to the activity. Click the Copy button to copy the link, and then add that link to your Canvas course or share it via GoGuardian. For students, to answer the question, click the Record Screen and Voice button. The first time you or your students use Snorkl, you'll have to give the site permission to record. This is necessary for the voice and screen recording. As students answer, they can draw on the screen, record their voice, or annotate. Additionally, students can upload images. One great way to use Snorkl, especially in math, is to have students take a picture of their work and then explain it verbally. This helps ensure that they can explain the process and aren't just memorizing the steps to arrive at the answer. As a teacher, you can go back to the students' submissions and see how they've answered, the number of submissions, and the feedback that they've received from the AI. It's important that you review this information to not only check for accuracy, but also to ensure that students understand the feedback and are able to act on it.